If you say, I have people call up and say, I have $500. I want to go out and get 10,000 impressions. Well, that's not going to get you anywhere. That's not going to get you any recognition. It's not going to get you any visibility. It's not going to do anything for you. You really have to step up to a minimum level and make sure that your goals are in line with your spend. If you want to take over the world, we need to have the budget to go take over the world. If you want to just create a niche market for yourself, or if you want to stick your toe in the water, you want to get some testing done, that's perfect. Just make sure that your budget is in line with what your goals are and that you're setting proper expectations. Most networks, most people working in this field are going to tell you probably $10,000 is the minimum to get your campaign up and going and starting, getting some level of feedback for you based on the performance of the campaign. Some will do a little bit more, some will do a little bit less, but that's just kind of the entry point. A lot of larger campaigns, we're seeing go in the hundreds of thousands of dollar range, and they're having a mass appeal and a very dynamic impact in terms of their advertising. So there's the whole spectrum for you in terms of the budget. But I want you just to make sure, and this is just advertising 101, but just make sure that your budget is in line with your goals. And if you really want to have an impact in this marketplace, make sure that you're just budgeted appropriately for it. Targeting. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but take advantage of the targeting. Everybody has targeting available, especially within social networking. Even if it's just to narrow down your base a little bit more. Say you want to have it more weighted towards an older demographic. So use age targeting. Say, I want everybody over 25 to see this ad. Or I want, maybe I'm going after a younger audience. I want people under 16 to see this and not people that are older. It really helps cull the field down for you, and it helps get you in front of the specific audience you want to be in front of. Even using some of those generic targeting features, you're still going to have millions and millions of people that you're going to get your ad in front of. So don't be afraid of using some of those to diminish the field a little bit. You're looking at hundreds of millions of people with billions of page views. You do need to cull that down a little bit, and you need to get a little bit more targeted in what you're going after. Otherwise, you're just going to be out there to everybody, and it's probably not going to be as effective as if you were to be a little bit more targeted with what you're going after. The third key bullet point that I want to identify with you is messaging. Within social networking, the messaging that tends to work best, I've looked at probably 200, 300 campaigns, and not to offend anybody, but the messaging that works best is something that's a little bit more racy or a little bit more provocative. The real idea, and I'll go into a little bit more of this in the creative section, but the real idea of an ad should be, and specifically in digital media, should be to pique somebody's interest. Get them interested in what you have to say. Get them curious about what you have to say. Don't give them all the information right up front, because then they're going to have no desire to click through on your ad or to follow or to do any more research on it. Use something that's unique to you, or that's creative, or that's provocative a little bit, or something that piques people's interest. Get a little teaser out there. Get them interested in and wondering, what are they really talking about? I don't understand. What on earth is going on here? Those kind of things are fantastic. BMW did something that's a little bit reverse engineering on this, but they did, a few years ago, they would put up TV spots, 30-second TV spots of BMW movies. And so they'd have a brief spot on it, and they would say, see how it ends, go to our website. They were really driving people back to their website. So they pique your interest and get you kind of engaged in what was going on, and then they give you a cliffhanger, and you'd have to go and figure out what was going on these websites. That's really the idea. Pique people's interest, get them involved, get them engaged with your ad, make them wonder what's next, and then bring them through and have that solution in place to offer them the information and get them to do what you want to do once they click through and engage with that. It takes me to my final point on creative. Make sure that the creative has the messaging like we talked about before, but make sure that the creative is engaging. I want to take just a few minutes and go through some example slides here that I have of some different creatives that are out there and the look and feel of them, and let you kind of get a flavor for them. And I wish I had these, because a lot of these have video in it and some moving pieces in it, but you can start to get a feel for some different ways that people approach the advertising and how the messaging looks and how the interaction works with it. These all happen to be widgets, so you can kind of see the look and feel of the widgets. But you can see how some are definitely going to be more engaging, and if they're on your page, you're going to be drawn to them. You're going to want to spend time with them. versus some of these other ones that you're going to glance at very quickly and you're going to move away from. So just keep that in mind as you're building something. What is going to be engaging to your user, your audience? How long do you want them to engage with it, and how much energy do you want to have in the exchange there? So let me go through a couple here with you real quick. Here are some examples of some content-heavy ads. These were created by two different companies. Benadryl is the one here with the map that you can see. And this really, they wanted to alert people to where allergies were the highest. And you put your zip code in, and they would give you allergy alerts to your page. Not 100% engaging to me. It may be if you have bad hay fever and you want to know if it's season for that. But most people already kind of know that, and they already have Benadryl in the cabinet already. But you can see in this one, lots of content. The map, you look at it quickly. Oh, I live in California. I'm down here. It's green. I'm okay. I'm in Texas. It's yellow. I'm not okay. I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot of time to interact with that. You're not going to be engaged with it for very long, and it may not stay on your page very long if it's kind of boring. Over on the right-hand side, every day they have new content that they serve up there, but it's a lot of text. And if you're looking at this, I don't know if anybody spends a whole lot of time reading through that. If you're like me, you go on the front page of Yahoo, and that's where you get the bulk of your news, or you go to wallstreetjournal.com and you read through the headlines. Something catches your eye, you read it. Gone are the days where we had the luxury of sipping a cup of coffee and reading through the entire newspaper. We're really in a generation where we're going. You want the content to be fast and engaging, and this kind of solution, while it's great content, it doesn't engage people for long lengths of time. The other two over here are by a company called Caboose, and they were really looking to engage moms. And you can see a lot of content, not a whole lot of engagement with these. Over here we have cheddar and chicken enchiladas. I know how to make enchiladas. I don't really need a widget on my page to tell me how to make enchiladas or to remind me it's enchilada day. Now, this one is kind of funny just because I grabbed it. Hairy potato head. That's something that you want to use as creative messaging to grab people to bring them in. But this is a project that you can make by growing grass on a potato and different things like that. This is content. You can change the content, but it's not really engaging. So if you're going after this type of solution, make sure you're targeting an audience that's a little bit slower pace, that has the time and the bandwidth, for lack of a better word, to really sit down and engage with that content, be able to read it, understand it, digest it. If you're going after a younger audience, they're not going to have the time to sit down and engage with this, as possibly an older audience is going to have the time to sit down and engage with that. So here's an example of a couple branding ads. Now these both happen to be for Sprint, and you may notice the one on the right here is very closely aligned to the example that I gave you before. This is the gingerbread widget that I was talking about before, and you can see it's a very subtle branding. It's up in the right-hand corner here. It says Sprint, but the whole thing is filled up with this, application, game, whatever you want to call it, of the gingerbread man. Down at the bottom, very easy. Grab your stuff, put it on your gingerbread man, save it, send it out to your friends. Very straightforward, very simple design, but very engaging because it captures people's imagination, captures people's desire to create something fun and share it with their friends and make something funny and goofy and crazy or cute or whatever and send it around.